we're going to just complete with big data, and tomorrow we're starting a very interesting section, which is AI. So we're starting with AI tomorrow. I'm also going to make a quick summary today. I'm going to make a summary document of big data, which you're going to refer to prepare for your exam. As we've seen on the group, the majority has chosen that the exam be done at the end of the month. So we're just going to confirm by tomorrow the dates, because I'm trying to have it on a weekend, because during the week it may be a problem for other students. Okay, so we're going to I will just give you as well a summary of big data, which you're gonna refer to. I'm gonna put it on the cloud. All right. So last week we ended with Bloom. I think that was the last section we did. Yeah. Okay, so we mentioned that Flume was just a mechanism to collect the logs. I showed you last week how an application can save the logs. So basically, the application can save the information about any change or anything that has been done to the system, and it is very difficult uh, for us to track all those changes if we do not refer to the log. And then the problem now becomes when the app has so many activities. So that becomes an issue because it becomes difficult to really find the log, to really find where the problem was in the system. So what Flume does is it takes those type of logs and turn them into elements in a database, so you can easily track all those information. Okay, so it collects all the information from a fixed directory, which can be HDFS or an HPay database or any other source. Okay, so we mentioned how we have a log, for example, that can be used from the source to channels, and the sink. The sink will be the destination, which can be HDFS. And you need to note that we can also have a multi-agent architecture. Okay. So uh, this is how Flume work. Okay. Um, these are just a few explanation. Okay, this is just how we will operate Flume when it comes to looking at logs and to configure it on the Apache platform. But you don't really need to memorize this. Okay. Okay, so the next section will be loaded data connection conversion. So the loaded conversion that will be okay. So I don't think this part is important for version 3.5. We're gonna move straight to. We'll just move straight to what's the next section again? Okay, we need to move to Elasticsearch. This is not used in 3.5. Mm, mm. Wait a second, guys. Trying to move to the right section because we are doing 3.5. So big data 3.5 does not include some of these sections. So, but in the summary, I'm going to write all the sections that will be uh, covered in the 3.5 exam. So you don't have to actually go through every single bit of it. Yeah, Elasticsearch. So I will tell you which chapters will not be covered. This is in version 3.5, but I'm going to do it in the summary. So now we go to Elasticsearch, distributed search engine. So what is Elasticsearch? It's just, how can I say it? It's just a scalable open source full text search. So these help us to search and find maybe certain information into our databases. Okay. So it helps you to analyze it's basically like an analytics engine, which will play a very big role in the big data ecosystem. Okay. So we basically have certain features uh, of this engine. So you have, for example, the fact that it was built for large volume of data across multiple servers. So you may have your data in different servers. Your system is so big, but you want to search to have specific data in a specific database. So you can easily use such a tool like the Elasticsearch in big data. Okay. So this is just a search engine. Um, can anyone give us an example of a search engine that you know? Do you have an example of a search engine? Do you know any search engine?
Google,
Anybody? Sorry.
Google isn't it the search engine?
Perfect. We all know Google. Google is just a search engine. It's search across the whole internet. So when you search something on Google, Google does not give you the answer. It helps you find where to find the answer. So if you go on Google, you just write a certain word or you're looking for something, Google will actually refer you to another website. Exactly. This is exactly. So think of Elasticsearch engine as the Google in big data ecosystem. Okay, so this will help you search um, across all your servers and clusters of information of data, all your databases, and get that. Okay, so basically, um, what Elasticsearch has really been developed uh, to a very high level, and it has been the technology has been increasing with time, with new technologies coming, and you need to remember that we're dealing with large volume of data across multiple servers. You know, so it helped provide some results from our search in a very short time with more accuracy. Okay, so you can integrate it through what we call RESTful APIs, integrate it into different applications and systems. Okay. Okay. So some of the features we talk about its high performance. What does it mean? It means that the search results can be obtained immediately. So once you search something in the in your database, you immediately find it. And when you think about it, you think of scenarios such as, when you are on an online store, you're typing, you're looking for a certain product. You want to get the product as fast as you can. You don't want the search to be or the system to be loading and then you wait for a long time. No, the search must be really fast, right? So you other scenarios where you use it, for example, in business analytics, where we have real-time analysis of business information, how the business is growing, what's happening, different statistics, and then we deal with those type of data. Okay, so there's a lot of advantages when it comes to this elastic search. You have your scalability as well. So when we talk about scalability, we mostly think of how easy it is to scale uh, this data. So you have a large data set, and how are you able to scale your search in those data? So basically, no matter how big your data are, you can easily search from different clusters, right? So we can say we can add what we call the node. Okay, we can add some nodes to the clusters, but we're going to talk about it. Okay, so you have an horizontal scaling, which is supported. Okay, so this can help us to search through thousands of servers. Okay, and then we have the relevance. Okay, so relevance, the search results are based on are sorted based on elements. And then the last one will be the reliability. Faults are automatically detected. Hardware faults such as adult faults, network segmentation, and then we're making sure that we're ensuring the security and availability of your clusters and the data in those clusters. Okay. Okay, so I've mentioned some application scenarios such as product search, but you can also uh, think of write and read. Okay, so basically, when you're writing, think of your phone when you're writing a certain word many times, and then your phone, your WhatsApp, learn how many times you use certain word. So every time you're trying to write a certain word, so it search amongst the word you've used before and see which word looks like the one you're trying to type and suggest to you, and then it helps you type faster. So those are example of elastic search thing. Okay. So the ecosystem of Elasticsearch, we have how the user access the system, the ecosystem. So we have the user access layer, which called Kibana. You have the data persistence and analysis layer, and then you have the data access layer Logstash. Okay, so this ecosystem here will help create the whole Elasticsearch engine. Okay, so you need to know that this engine can really work together with, it can be integrated in things like the Hadoop ecosystem. We can get it into Spark, okay, and different databases. So it can be used there. Okay. So, and then we have, this is the architecture. Um, do you guys still remember Zookeeper? You still remember Zookeeper? Can anybody tell us if they remember what is Zookeeper again? Can anybody
Uh,
remind us?
Zookeeper go hand in hand with HDFS.
Yes, you remember that. Anybody else remember anything about Zookeeper? Guys, when you go to the zoo, what's the job of the zookeeper?
Zookeeper is a framework that is used to solve some data management problems.
Yes, it helps you manage all the data across multiple clusters. So wherever the data is, control everything. So if the data are saved in different servers, so Zookeeper, that was the purpose of Zookeeper. Okay. So another thing that you need to understand about this architecture here. So when we talk about the user access layer here, Kibana, for example. So this is basically think of it as a dashboard of the platform. So this is like the dashboard. Okay. And then you have um, Logstash here, which is more focused on the all the data, the way the data are moving, the way that the data are being processed. Okay. So yeah, so that work. So you need to understand in the architecture, we can also have, let's say, you're trying to perform a search. So we search for certain data, and the data, this Elasticsearch will search through all our nodes and all the clusters. So search for the data you're looking for, and then it's going to update the cluster information. So it updates where the information is coming from Zookeeper. So Zookeeper is going to help you get that information. So Zookeeper work hand in hand with this Elasticsearch. Okay. Okay. So the basic concept, we have indexing. When we talk about indexing, it's basically getting a structure of the data. Okay, so a data can be in a certain position, so that can be called an index. So the index has to do with the, we can call it, think of it as the ID of the data in the database. Okay, so we have the indexing. So basically, we have a logical namespace in Elasticsearch. Okay, and then the type. So it's used different type of document. Okay, and then the document is the basic unit that can be indexed. Mapping. The concept of mapping is used to restrict the field type. Okay. Okay, why all these features matters? Because we dealing with a really large scale of data, so we need to somehow get them into a proper order. So when we have Elasticsearch, the Elasticsearch will search in a proper manner so that it gets all the information about uh, 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 this data that we're looking for. So this is very important. Okay, and it's very important to note that Elasticsearch is widely used in things like e-commerce, as I mentioned, online stores. You have it in cybersecurity, because when you're dealing with cybersecurity, let's say the bank, you see how many data that the bank has, and um, if there's any attack in the data of the bank, you see uh, how this can have really bad consequences. So in big data, Elasticsearch is used as well to search for anything that has changed, any change, any small change, or any security, anything that can be a security issue. So that is used as well. Okay. Okay, these are just examples. Okay, so the next one should be the, let's see, the which chapter is the MRS. So we're gonna move to Huawei products. I think we've spoken. Most of, can anybody remind us, most of these packages, which company is making them? These open source packages, most of them, which company? We've been mentioning this company in everything we're talking about. Okay. Did anybody notice?
Apache.
Yeah. So when it comes to big data, that is one of the companies that is really, really involved in the big data ecosystem. Apache. There is many social media that do not even keep their own data. Everything is controlled by Apache. Mm. Did anyone try to what you call that, to log in to your platform and see if you are able to download the slide? Did anyone try?
Yes, I did.
Did you manage to download?
No, I wasn't able to download it.
Okay, I
It's
will.
not downloadable, say,
Not okay. Okay.
but
Okay.
but I have one here which I can share via WhatsApp or
Is
here.
it is it is it which version is that, the 3.0 or 3.5?
3.5 vision.
Okay, perfect. You can send it to me on WhatsApp so I can see if it's the same version needed.
Okay, so no problem.
All right. All right. So okay, we're gonna talk about the Huawei Big Data System. The Huawei Big Data. When we talk about Huawei Big Data System, we talk about everything that's every product that is being used by Huawei that involves big data. Okay, so Huawei is involved in about 150 countries and regions, serving more than 7,000 customers. So you have different systems that uh, are being used. For example, you have the Huawei MRS, which is the Huawei Map Reduce service, right? Which is part of the Huawei cloud services that can help you deal with data processing. So these are platforms that we can access them directly through the Huawei system and deal with your data. Okay. So this is part of the Huawei Cloud Enterprise. So we have, when we look in different industries, we have, like for example, in agriculture, when we're trying to really develop this sector, we really need data. You can't do things the traditional way where you say for years this has been happening. When you look at, like, think of South Africa. If you think of South Africa 10 years ago, you will be to certain town like Johannesburg where they will tell you Johannesburg is not cold anymore. How it used to. I don't know if is there anyone who notice any change in terms of how cold it has been for the past few years compared to 10 years ago? Is there anyone who has noticed any change? Anyone? Anyone who has noticed that it's not cold, it's not as cold as before. It's like everything has been changing with the weather.
Yes, I have noticed that in KZN this year we are receiving more rainfall than the previous years.
Yeah. You see, now when you think of these effects, it means that things has to change. For example, in the agriculture system, so you need to adapt to change. But how do you adapt to change if you don't know what are those changes doing? So that becomes a problem. So now when we think of including technology, that means we're dealing with real data. So we take the data that are coming, so we're recording the data and see how the data are affecting a certain industry, and then we can easily work on solution for that. So that's how the big data can be involved into the agriculture economy. You have it in industrial economies, in digital economies. Okay, so in every area nowadays, everything has to do with data. So the more data we're collecting, the more we can produce powerful applications. Okay, so data is everything. Okay, so um, we spoke about Hadoop. So when you look at the way the MRS work, when we talk about the way the Huawei, when we talk about the Huawei, the big data framework of Huawei, the way it works, so it works together with other frameworks, so you can integrate other frameworks. Okay, so the type of framework we spoke about, for example, the Apache. We spoke about Apache Hadoop, which we've called HDFS. We spoke about Yon. We spoke about Spark, which help in memory processing. We spoke about Hive, which was a data warehousing, right? So when we talk about data warehousing, we mentioned Hive. And in Hive, we say Hive work with SQL queries, like those SQL queries where you use the same type of code with Hive. We also spoke about HBase database, where we say HBase does not use SQL queries, but it uses real-time queries, and it uses some type of columns and rows. And then in terms of real-time data streaming, we mentioned Kafka, we spoke about Flink, and we also spoke about Flume. Okay, so those are some examples of data. Okay, so why do we need all these? Because all these technologies work together. So when you look at the technology such as AI, so to create an AI, we will need data. And those data need to be stored somewhere. So we need all these databases. So everything that we've learned in big data is just to show you, when you're working in AI, if you're working in AI, the bigger your application, the more data you will deal with. And you cannot handle your data in a small Excel table or in a small database somewhere on your website. No, sometimes the data has to come from different servers. It has to come from different locations. So that is to show you why we need so many technologies to work together for that. So in the big data, when we're talking about the big data, the big data will supply all the data needed to create AI tools, for example. So thinking about that, you look at your phone. Um, if you think about it properly, sometimes you will be talking to people, and then whatever you were talking about, next thing you go on the phone, you go on the internet, you start seeing adverts about something you were talking about. Sometimes it can be part of your conversation. The conversation you were talking, you were having a conversation with someone in a message. Next thing, all the adverts are about that. So it's to show you how these data are being collected. They're being collected from different sources. Some of them are being collected from social media, and all these data have to be processed. So this is the reason why we have all these big data tools, and all of them um, have a proper function. You understand? So when it comes to the Huawei ecosystem, you have other things such as the Huawei Data Art Studio, which is just a platform as well that can help you to integrate and process different data using the Huawei cloud. So, okay. Okay. So if we can try and let me just share this. If we can try and summarize this. Okay. All right. So can you guys see the new screen, the new I'm posting, I'm sharing. Okay, so if you can try to summarize the big data 3.5, so we basically spoke about different fundamentals of big data, and it is very important for you to note that when we talk about big data, we focus more on the 5 V's, and the 5 V's were the volume, velocity, variety, value, and veracity. So this has to do with the data. So the more data we have, this is why we call it big data, because we're dealing with large uh, volume of data. Velocity, we spoke about how how fast we want to deal with the data and that. Okay, so we also compare big data to traditional database. Traditional database means when you're dealing with data, you just save it somewhere in a certain small database. And big data, but in big data, we have so many software that we are using to deal with large amount of data that can be saved into different clusters. That means it can be saved into different servers, different location, that the whole big data ecosystem. Okay, so which industry do we have application big data? In finance, healthcare, Internet of Things, e-commerce, and other applications as well. So what type of technologies did we mention that we use in big data? We have technologies that are helping us with, we have the Hadoop ecosystem, HDFS. We spoke about Yarn and MapReduce. We spoke about MapReduce. We spoke about Spark and Flink. We spoke about databases that are not using the SQL language, such as HBase. And then we also mentioned databases such as Hive, which are using the SQL queries, but these are classified under data warehousing. Okay, so we have Hive and ClickHouse. And then we spoke as well, we had the Huawei Big Data Solution, MapReduce, and then we have, these are just Huawei products. Okay, so in terms of the big data architecture and processing, we spoke about batch and real-time ingestion. Remember when we spoke about batch streaming, one of the platform that we spoke about was Flume. Flume has to do with just collecting all the logs of everything. But when we have, we're talking about real-time processing, we spoke about Flink. So information are being processed as we're receiving them. Okay. What else can we mention here? Okay, so I think anything else? So we're gonna do a proper summary with each section, most important things to note, and make sure by the end of the week we have those those information, and just keep on preparing, guys, and all the best. Remember, you're earning 1,000 rand for every certification you get. So the way the exam are, so basically we will have about, I just have to confirm this, I just don't want to talk about how the marks are distributed. Okay. All right, guys. Please encourage everyone to start attending AI classes from tomorrow. So from tomorrow, we're starting with AI. Is there any question before we can call it a day? Any questions?
So, did they release vouchers already, or?
No, that will be confirmed if I haven't had any communication with that regard.
Okay, can you please share that document with us, please?
Yes. I will share. I will put everything on the cloud and communicate on the group just for you guys to know, because I need to do a summary of everything and just put it on the cloud there. And I'm also collecting past exams as well. Okay. Any other question?
Hi, sir. So my question is not actually related to like big data. So okay. So I currently don't have access to my WhatsApp, right? So I won't be able to actually see your updates. So I just wanted to know if it could be possible if I can get a link so that I can join the group with a different number.
Oh, okay. So, okay, let's see how you're gonna get the link. Let me see. So you wanted me to post the link on
the
chat here?
Yes, please.
Oh, can the link? I'm not sure if there's. Just see if I can. Okay, so now, okay, so it's okay, I'm not sure. Okay, oh, you want to join the group with a different number? Okay, that's fine. Because
Yes.
you really need, you really need to, be on the group, because all the communications are being sent on the group. Okay.
Yes.
Guys, in the meantime, anybody else? Any questions?
Sir, are we allowed to do the mock exam after like doing the whole course on the Huawei platform?
To be honest with you, I will need to confirm that. Why? Because you only have one attempt. So sometimes that mock exam help you. So you don't want to lose that attempt. But again, I will just confirm that yeah. So I don't want you to open it and use it just to try, and then you realize that you need that mock exam. Because sometimes people will fail the exam, and then they ask you maybe they want to give a second chance to those who can have a certain percentage with the mock exam. That's why I need to confirm. Any other question?
So like after completing with big data exam, we're facing AI exam.
Yes, yes. But we're starting with the AI classes tomorrow.
Or then we'll write big data exam month end of June.
Yes, yes. I've sent the link in the chat, so you can. All right. So are you able to receive the link? I sent it on the chat.
I just saw it now. I was about to click it.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Okay.
How can I access the recordings from these classes? Because I tried and I saw that since we are not from the same organization, I cannot see the recordings after the classes. So how can I get them?
Yes, I saw. I think it's a setting that I need to do for the class. Please try, because when is the last time, when did you check that?
I think it was on last week Saturday. Yeah, I think so.
Last week Saturday. Okay, I will check again, but I changed that settings to allow chatting or seeing the recording even after the meeting, because it shows, when you look at the chat. If you look at the chat, then you can see the day, you can see the recording. So,
Can you give me just a minute just to check if it's working?
yeah, but now the issue is now you're gonna see it because the class is on. So I'll need to check again the settings, and then you can maybe check it when the class. You can check it later and let me know so I can see what settings to do. All right, guys.
I
I'll
just,
see you tomorrow.
checked. There's nothing visible here. It's just saying.
Can you access the chat? Can you see the chat? The meeting chat.
Yes, it says we have temporarily logged in. After when the meeting ends, even the
Yeah.
chat
Yes,
appears.
I can, and this only says the meeting has
Yes.
started.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I will change that.
I'm using my phone just to check the chats.
Yes, I'm saying I will change that setting that restricts people from accessing the chat after the meeting. So I'll change that setting, and then you guys need to check maybe tomorrow and just let me know if you have access to them, so you can see from there. Yeah, I think we can do that. Yeah, just try to check maybe tomorrow and then let me know. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
All right. I think we can just take the attendance. If you can just turn on your camera so we can have that. Anyone joining? Anyone turning the camera on?
I'm sorry, sir, I can't turn on my camera when electricity this side.
No problem.
Yeah, mine is sharp, Musmener. There's picture there.
All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow for AI.